to any of what Mr. Walker has requested?
No, Your Honor. She is 18 years old. I believe pretrial may be asking for an adult, a person over 21. I do have her stepmom, Miss Aaliyah Bryant, who's also on the Zoom, and she's prepared to sign her bond.
Okay, does Miss Kenya Lovett live with Miss Bryant?
No, Your Honor, she lives with her mom and she is going to be returning to her mom's home. But pretrial usually asks for an adult signatory. So I was able to contact her stepmother, who is willing to be that person.
Okay, well, she's going to also need, if she's going to be living with Ms. Lovett, I'm going to need to know that, and I'm going to need pretrial will require a some type of utility bill from Ms. Lovett. So that's why I was inquiring if, so Ms. Bryant is going to pick her up.
Ms. Bryant is going to sign, Your Honor, because normally they don't want the victim to sign, the alleged victim to sign the person's bond. And Ms. Lovett is the alleged victim. Miss Bryant is the stepmother of the victim, of my client. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Jackson?
Yes, Your Honor.
What will pretrial require? So if Ms. Bryant signs, will she also need to bring the utility bill from Ms. Lovett since she'll be staying with Ms. Lovett?
If Miss Bryant is signing, she's gonna need to bring her current ID or driver's license and a utility bill, and it has to have the same address on both documents.
Right. What I'm going to, since that's a little complicated and she's going back to stay with Ms. Lovett, I am going to waive the requirement of the utility bill. So if you can get me that that waiver, I'll get that signed. So Ms. Bryant, you are going to need to take with you identification. And the spelling, I believe, Ms. Jackson, of Ms. Bryant's name is A-L-I-Y-A-H, Bryant, B-R-Y-A-N-T.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that first name, Your Honor.
A-L-I-Y-A-H is what's on the screen here.
Okay. So you're doing an adult cosigner?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so the bond's going to be a $1,500 signature bond through pretrial, 1-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Miss Lavetta Lovett, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Judge, you said 1,500 SOB through pretrial, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
All right, good luck to you both, Miss Lovett and Miss Bryant.
Position 25, Torrance.
Yes, good afternoon, Ms. Torrance. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 0058667J with possession and use of drug-related objects, 2 counts. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
Yes, the defendant has 7 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was January the 31st, 2020 in DeKalb County for simple battery, family violence. The defendant did receive first offender treatment in 2019 out of DeKalb County for forgery in the 3rd degree. That case was sealed April the 17th, 2022, and she does have misdemeanor convictions. One in 2013 out of DeKalb County for obstruction of an officer and simple battery and disorderly conduct. There was one in 2011 for criminal trespassing. There's one failure to appear, and that was in 2009. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Yes. Good afternoon, Ms. Jackson.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. The incident took place on September the 30th, and she took place at 3050 Martin Luther King Drive in Atlanta, Georgia, in Fulton County. Police conducted a traffic stop on a a white Honda with no tail lights. After further investigation, the defendant indicated that she had a crack pipe in the car. The vehicle was subsequently searched and a crack pipe was located in the area of the passenger side where the defendant was actually sitting. While being detained for the discovery of this crack pipe, the defendant retrieved another crack pipe from her vaginal area. So we're asking the court to give her a $2,500 SOB through pretrial services for a total of $5,000. And we're asking for no drugs and alcohol while she's on bond.
Ms. Kim, if it's agreeable with you, it's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail, $1,000 per charge, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Does that suit you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, very good. So a $2,000 signature bond through the jail, $1,000 per charge, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Good luck to you, Ms. Torrance.
Position 16, Leggett.
Good afternoon, Ms. Leggett. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Leggett, you've been charged in case 23 CR 005874Y with driving while license suspended or revoked and no insurance. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
Defendant has 5 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was February the 24th, 2023 in Tift County, Georgia, where a failure to appear. The underlying charge was not listed. There were no convictions listed in the GCIC. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. The state is recommending a $500 signature bond through the jail on each count. That'd be $1,000 signature bond in total through the jail with a condition of no driving without a valid license.
Any objection to any of that, Ms. Woodbury?
No objection, Your Honor. We're in agreement with that.
Okay, so it's going to be a $500 signature bond through the jail on each count, making for a total of $1,000 signature bond through the jail. No driving without a valid license. Good luck to you, Ms. Leggett.
Position 23, Smith.
Good afternoon, Ms. Smith. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Smith, you've been charged in case 23 CR 005865C with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
The defendant has 3 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was July the 18th, 2021 in Clayton County for a DUI. There was no disposition for that arrest. The defendant does have 1 prior misdemeanor conviction that was in 2009 in Tennessee for theft. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Ms. Jackson?
Your Honor, this incident took place back in April of this year, April 30th at 765 McDaniel Street in Atlanta, Georgia, in Fulton County. On April the 30th, the police were dispatched to 765 McDaniel Avenue for a domestic dispute call. Upon arrival, police met with victim Adrian Parker, and if he's available on the line, we are sounding for him, Your Honor, at the appropriate time, who advised that he was being harassed by the defendant, who he shares a child with. Mr. Parker indicated that he received several text messages from the defendant indicating that she was at his complex and demanded that he open the door. As Mr. Parker has had several altercations with the defendant, he ignored her request. Moments later, Mr. Parker heard knocking at his door. Due to his history with the defendant, Mr. Parker begins recording on his cell phone. He looked out of the peephole and saw his 5-year-old daughter standing in the rain with no shirt and no shoes on, and he immediately opened the door. As he stepped out of the door, the defendant pulled him by his hair onto the ground where a physical tussle ensued. The officer could hear on the video that Mr. Parker showed him the defendant telling, Mr. Parker telling the defendant to get off of him and to leave his home. The video also showed the defendant striking Mr. Parker and continuing to berate him. Mr. Parker showed the officer text messages where the defendant threatened to call police and tell them that Mr. Parker was the aggressor and that he struck her so that he could go to jail. The defendant has already fled the scene and was apprehended on an unrelated incident on yesterday where this warrant was discovered. Your Honor, the state is asking for a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services, no further violent contact with Mr. Parker, to have a third-party exchange of the daughter for visitation, or to meet at a local police department for the exchange. No alcohol or drugs while on bond, to also take one anger awareness class.
Ms. Jackson, you said no further violent contact. Did you mean no further contact?
Your Honor, it's my understanding we've been in touch with the victim and he has no problem with having contact with the defendant.
Okay, so you want contact, but you want to stay away also? Is there a reason that she needs to stay away?
I didn't ask for a stay away, Your Honor.
Oh, okay.
I'm assuming that we don't have to have a third party transfer then, right? Since they have a no further violent contact, Your Honor.
Okay, right. I guess that's what messed me up. So a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial, 1 day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Mr. Parker, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Does that suit you, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, very good. Good luck to you, Ms. Smith.
Everybody's going to Wednesday.
Who do we have?
I'm sorry, Judge, did you hear me?
No, I did not.
I'm sorry. Position 10, Gildersleeve.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Gildersleeve. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Counter that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 005862G with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
The defendant has 10 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was March the 11th, 2016 in DeKalb County for aggravated assault and battery. The defendant does appear to have an open case pending in Flint County, Michigan for assault, kidnapping, and dangerous drugs. And there appears to be one in Grand Blanc, Michigan for assault. He does have one prior felony conviction that was in 2016 out of DeKalb County for aggravated battery, and one misdemeanor conviction that was in 2016 out of DeKalb County for disorderly conduct. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Ms. Nimini?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened yesterday. Around 7:30 p.m., officers were dispatched at 3200 Stone Road Southwest, apartment L9, in reference to a dispute call. They made contact with the defendant and the victim, Ms. Whitney Kimberly, who stated that the defendant had to put his hands on her and poked her in the eye. Both parties used to live at one location, but the defendant had moved to this location September 23rd, so about 9-10 days ago, because he was evicted from his previous residence. The victim states that she went into the bathroom and she left her cell phone in the room. And when she came out, that's when the defendant confronted her about who she was texting, because he had went through her phone. She stated while trying to leave, that's when he grabbed her, pinned her against the wall, put his hands on her neck and choked her. He stated that then he threw her on the ground and then poked her in her left eye. She did not lose consciousness, but she did not receive help from the ambulance. But the officer said they didn't notice any visible injuries. The state was able to speak to the victim, Miss Whitney, who stated that they are no longer in a relationship. They don't generally live together, but because the defendant had been recently evicted, that's why she allowed him to come to her residence. She did state that the defendant did choke her. The state did try to send it up to the DA's office and they did decline. She was able to breathe and she didn't lose consciousness, but she does want him to stay away from her. She states that the defendant's children have already came and got the defendant's belongings, so there's no need for the defendant to come back to her home. So considering that, the state is asking for a $3,500 surety bond, a stay away from 3200 Stone Road, Southwest, apartment L9, no further contact with Miss Whitney Kimball, and no alcohol, drugs, guns, or weapons. And I would like to sound for Miss Whitney Kimball if she's on the Zoom call today, Your Honor.
If Ms. Whitney Kimball is on the line, now is your opportunity to address the court if you choose to. I don't see her, Ms. Nominee. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 39 years old. Your Honor, we have no objection to stay away and no further contact with Miss Kimball Whitney. They do not have any child together. However, my client has a sole parenting child custody for 3 children right now. And they are 19, 16, and 14. And 16 and 14, I mean, right now they are sleeping in a car. It is very, very important for him to return to take care of his minor children, Your Honor. They will go to their own place. And when this happened, when he was getting arrested, he put all his stuff in front of the door. So he does need to have a one-time law enforcement officer escorted visit to retrieve his final belongings. I mean, he's willing to forgive all those, but I think he does need to take those. And Your Honor, we would like to request for signature on bond. He's gainfully employed as a forklift operator at Americold warehouse. He's been working there for about 3 years. And also, he has been here in Georgia for the last 7 years. He has an associate degree for IT, and he denies the allegation. He did not touch her at all. He did not put his hands on her. We would like to request for a signature on bond. Thank you.
Your Honor.
Ms. Nominee?
I'm sorry. I just wanted to put on record that he has been convicted of an aggravated battery in Georgia for the 7-8 years that he's been here. He also had a case in Florida for aggravated battery for a pregnant victim. From my understanding and from what the defendant has told us, not the defendant, but what the victim has told us, all his belongings have been taken. So there's no reason for him to go to that home. And the state is going to stand on the stay away and no further contact with the victim, Your Honor.
Okay, it's going to be a $3,000 good bond, no further contact with Ms. Kimball. Stay away from the Stone Road address. He can go back there on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Position 13, Johnson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Johnson. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson, you've been charged in case 23 CR 005859E with criminal trespass and willful obstruction of law enforcement officers. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
No, sir.
The defendant has 39 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was June the 29th, 2023 for criminal trespassing, and that was with the City of Atlanta Police Department. That case appeared to be still pending in Fulton County. That case number is 23 CR 004090 and the letter E. The defendant does have prior felony convictions. This one in 2023 for aggravated assault. I did look it up and it said it was commuted to time served. And there was one in 2005 for burglary and theft by receiving stolen property. This one in 2004 for financial transaction card theft. And one in 1993 for burglary. And one in 1988 for entering an automobile. and one in 1983 for theft by receiving stolen property, one in 1982 for robbery, and one in 1981 for theft by taking. He does have misdemeanor convictions. One in 2022 for criminal trespassing, theft by shoplifting, and one in 2009 for simple assault. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor, the state's gonna be asking for a $500 signature bond through the jail on each count for a total of $1,000 signature bond with the condition of a stay away from the incident location, the Walgreens located at 25 Peachtree Street.
Any objection to any of that, Ms. Woodbury?
No objection. We're on board with that.
Okay, so it'll be $1,000 signature bond through the jail, 500 on each charge. Stay away from the Walgreens on Peachtree Street. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you.
Position 22, Sessoms.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sessoms. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Sessoms, you've been charged in case 23 CR 005871Y with loitering and prowling and a pedestrian in the roadway. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
The defendant has 5 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was July 8, 2023 in DeKalb County for a failure to appear. The defendant does appear to have an open case pending in DeKalb County for criminal trespassing. And also the defendant appeared to have an open case pending with the city of Atlanta for criminal trespassing. There was no case number provided. It looks more like a reference number, tracking number. Would you like that, Your Honor?
No, that's fine. Thank you, Ms. Jackson.
Okay. And he does appear to have 2 failure to appears. They were both in 2023. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. And who's representing Mr. Sessoms?
Your Honor, I do.
Okay,
You're-
I just want to make sure that we had someone on, Ms. Kim, before we move forward. Thank you, Ms. Jackson.
Your Honor, this incident took place on September the 30th at 190 Marietta Street, which is where the CNN Center is located. On that day, Atlanta police officers were flagged down by a CNN security officer in regards to a suspicious person looking into several marked APD police patrol vehicles. And he was also observed walking in the roadway alongside these vehicles, despite the presence of a sidewalk. So we would ask the court to, the state is asking for a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial services and a stay away from 190 Marietta Street.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, we have no objection to signature on bond, but we would like to have it as a jail. He is residing with his mother right now. I do have his mother's phone number, and he does have a court tomorrow at DeKalb County. So he does have to get out today, hopefully, and be able to get there tomorrow. And Your Honor, looking at somebody's car does not seem to be that harmful. But anyway, Your Honor, he has been here in Georgia for the last two years, and he is also trying to get his GED, and he has 2 children, minor children. They do not live together. However, he does have to work and provide for his children. Thanks, Your Honor.
Okay, for each charge, it's going to be a $500 signature bond through the jail, makes for a total of $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from 190 Marietta Street, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Sessoms.
Position 20, Riley.
Good afternoon, Mr. Riley. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Riley, you've been charged in case 23 CR 005881F with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
Defendant has 3 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was November the 18th, 2020 for criminal trespassing family violence. in Carrollton County, Georgia. That case was dismissed on April the 4th, 2023. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched at 1104 West Chase Lane. They spoke to the victim, a Miss Asian Mosberry, who advised that her child's father, the defendant, and her were engaged in a verbal altercation over money, at which point he did slap her. The officer did observe visible injuries to Miss Mosberry's face. We have made contact with the victim. She advised our office that they do, in fact, have a history of domestic violence. She is concerned for her safety, so we are asking for a no contact order and a stay away from that incident location. There currently is a $5,000 surety bond set. We ask that that is maintained as set by the magistrate, and no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
Ms. Kim?
Yes.
Hold on, let me just see if Ms. Mosberry is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ms. Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 33 years old, Your Honor, and he has two minor children who are 2 years old and 4 years old. So 4 of them have been living together, and my client is a sole breadwinner for the whole entire family, Your Honor. He is working as a line cook at Genuine Parks. So he's been doing that for the last 2 years, 2 months. And before that, he was working in film industry. He graduated from high school, and he is also, he just had actually, Your Honor, surgery on September 15, 2023. So he cannot move his body well. He actually can handle like 10 pounds, barely. He was bed rest, and he feels extremely hurt that he's falsely accused by Miss Asian Mosberry. This is purely his self-defense. Automatically, when he was struck by her, he wanted to defend himself. But he is right now needs a lot of medical attention, and he has to get out of the jail. So we would like to request for signature on bond through jail. Thanks.
Will be a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Ms. Mosberry, stay away from the West Chase Lane address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there. I'm not going to keep him away from his children, so there can be third-party transfer of any minor children, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Your Honor, that house is actually, that apartment 412 is in his name. They are not legally married. So if she wants to move out, I want my client to be able to return home.
Well, I've given him a one-time escort. If he goes there and nobody's there, then he can stay there. But if Miss Mosberry is
She
there,
resides there. She specifically asked for us to stay away from that address.
okay, so it appears that she's going to be living there, Miss Kim, so he can go and retrieve his belongings, but he's going to have to find somewhere else to reside until this matter is handled.
Your Honor, I want to clarify that if we see the Odyssey, the first page, we have a local warrant for battery, family violence, and then which does not have a no bond. And then there's another one, battery, 2 charges. So I just want to clarify that, one of these are all combined, or if we're going to have an NOD.
There was a second case that I'm NODing due to statute of limitations.
Sure.
So we're just left with the cases before the court right now.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good luck to you, Mr. Riley.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome, sir.
Position 5, Mr. Cruz Sanchez.
Hey, good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cruz Sanchez. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video? You're on mute, courtroom 2.
Go ahead and say it again.
I'll say that again, sir?
No, just say yes.
Oh, yes, my bad.
Okay. Mr. Cruz Sanchez, you've been charged in case 23 CR 005872F with driving without a valid license, driving under the influence of alcohol less safe, failure to maintain insurance, and willful obstruction of law enforcement officers. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
The defendant does not have any prior arrests on file, Your Honor. Nothing in addition.
Ms. Nemini?
Yes, Your Honor. So I have, mine's the first. I have a conviction from 2015, 2016, 2017 for driving without a valid license. And I also noted that he does not currently have a driver's license. So this incident happened, this incident happened yesterday. Around 12 a.m., defendant was operating in control of a 2003 Dodge Ram pickup truck on Sargent Road, which is located in the city of Johns Creek, Georgia. He was observing the driver's seat of the vehicle with the keys in ignition, and he started the vehicle in the presence of the officers. As they were speaking to the officer, as he was speaking with the officer, his speech was slurred. He was unsteady on his feet, and there was an odor of an alcoholic beverage emanating from his breath. The officers checked his registration and revealed that he had no valid insurance for the vehicle, which was a 2003 Dodge Ram pickup truck. During questionings, they asked him about why he didn't have a valid license. That's when the defendant fled on foot from the officers, who also chased him and ordered him to stop. Upon catching him, a 9mm handgun fell from his waistline. He continued to resist the officers, and he had to be tased twice in order for them to gain compliance and to secure him in handcuffs. Considering I have 4 driving without a valid license convictions, and a 2019 driving without license again. The bond is currently at $5,000 shorty with $1,000 on each count. The state is asking to change count 1 to $1,000 cash, count 2 to a $1,500 shorty, counts 3 and 4 to $500, which totals $4,000 split bond. To my understanding, we want to add no driving without a valid license and registration, no alcohol, guns, drugs, or weapons, Your Honor.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 26 years old and he is recommended, Your Honor. And he has been here in Georgia ever since he was 2 years old, 24 years. This is his hometown. He's not going to run away, or he's not going to be a flight risk. He has 4 years old daughter. He's married to a U.S. citizen, Your Honor. And he's been working really hard at doing drywall painting as a handyman. He provides for his family. Your Honor, he also has completed up to 10th grade. He is still working on his GED. We would like to request for signature on bond through jail. These are traffic issues, Your Honor, and there was no evidence that he was actually drunken. So we would like to request for signature on bond. Thanks.
Okay, for the driving without a valid license, $500 good bond. For the DUI, $1,500 good bond. Failure to maintain lane, a $250 good bond. Willful obstruction, a $250 good bond. Makes for a total of a $2,500 good bond. No driving without a valid license, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Your
Good
Honor,
luck to Mr. Cruz Sanchez. Yes, Ms. Kim.
I just want to clarify that the last one, because there's only 4 charges, and the last one for marijuana is completely NOD'd, right?
Yes, I NOD that.
Thank you.
Position
Your Honor.
26,
Welcome.
Ziegler.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ziegler. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Ziegler, you've been charged in case 23 CR 005869F with hit and run, expired or no license on person, and following too closely. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant has 11 cycles. The last arrest was July the 5th, 2023 for driving without a valid license, and that was in Fulton County. The defendant does appear to have an open case pending in Fulton County for driving without a valid license and giving false information to an officer, 2 counts. That case number is 23 CR 0041775. He does appear to have an additional, well, I apologize. He does appear to be on probation in Woodstock, Georgia for driving without a valid license. That disposition date was August the 7th, 2023, and the term is for 11 months and 28 days. He did receive first offender treatment in 2016 out of Gwinnett County for possession of methamphetamine and possession of Schedule 4 controlled substance. That case was sealed October the 13th, 2020. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Ms. Jackson?
Your Honor, this incident took place on September the 25th of this year. And the location was the roundabout in Warsaw Road and Grimesbridge Road in Roswell in Fulton County. Your Honor, the victim in this case is Kimberly Johnson. When the police arrived on the scene, she was alert, but she was complaining about whiplash. And she stated that she was traveling near Warsaw Road and was about to enter into the roundabout when she was struck from the back by a white Kia Sorento. The defendant in this case was driving that vehicle, got out of the car, came up to her window and said that there was no damage. And Ms. Johnson asked him to stay and wait on the police to come to determine what happened in the accident. At that moment, the defendant jumped in his car and drove away. The victim was able to get a partial tag for the officers, and through their investigation, they were able to discover that the car belonged to the defendant. After he was apprehended, he was apprehended at a later time, Your Honor. He was not at the scene and he was not apprehended for a number of days. The GCIC revealed that his license has actually been expired since July 7th of 2020. So we are asking for a $5,000 total bond with $3,000 on the hit and run, $1,500 on the following too closely, and $500 on the expired license. No alcohol and drugs while on bond, no further contact with the victim, as well as no driving without a valid license.
Are you requesting a surety or a?
Surety, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, we would like to request for maximum $1,000 good bond for actually hit and run 500 and no insurance, no license 500, and then too close. We would like to request for signature on bond for a traffic violation. Your Honor, he has been working hard doing pressure washer. He's self-employed. He's been doing it for the last 2 years, but his income is not doing well. So he's still qualified for public defender services, Your Honor. And he does have some medical needs that he has to address. So we need to kind of like make sure that he goes back and take care of his medical conditions. Your Honor, he is residing with his girlfriend and 2 kids. He's not a flight risk. He's been here for the last 9 years. And Your Honor, he will be coming back to the court. We would like to request for signature on bond. If not, maximum $1,000 total good bond. Thanks.
And Your Honor, just for the court's edification, based on the history of the defendant, we would ask that there's several traffic violations as well as several times that he's been driving without a valid license. And in this case, Your Honor, it's my understanding that the police were actually able to speak to him, asked him to wait around to talk about the accident. He agreed to do that. When the police got to his home, he was gone. So he absconded from police officers for a number of days before they were able to catch him on this case. We would ask the court to grant a higher bond than $1,000.
Okay, for the hit and run, it's going to be a $500 good bond. For the expired and no license, a $250 good bond. For the following too closely, a $250 good bond makes for a total of $1,000 good bond. no driving without a valid license, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Ziegler.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Position 1, Baker.
Good afternoon, Mr. Baker. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Baker, you've been charged in case 23 CR 005877G with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
The defendant has 3 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was, was April the 6th, 2022 for battery family violence, and that was in Fayette County, Georgia. The defendant does appear to be on some type of signature bond through pretrial services in Fayette County for battery family violence and simple battery and cruelty to children. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Yes, Ms. Emily?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened December 6, 2022 at 199 Dalloy Drive. Officers responded to a 911 call that was placed by Miss Brianna Thomas, and I would like to sound for her when the time is appropriate. She reported and advised officers that she had been assaulted by her then lived-in boyfriend. She advised officers that the parties had gotten into an argument after the defendant had took her car without asking her to use it. During the argument, the defendant punched her in the mouth, causing a laceration to her lip, which resulted in a visible laceration. The state was able to speak to Ms. Brianna Thomas, and she did alert us that her and the defendant are no longer in a relationship, but they are on good terms. They don't live together. They share no children, and neither of them are currently living at the incident location. She says they have been in contact since the incident and she's not in fear of the defendants. However, the state is asking for a $2,500 surety bond, no further contact with Ms. Brianna Thomas, no alcohol, no alcohol, drugs, guns, or weapons, considering that he does have 3 FTAs and he is on a pretrial diversion program for battery family violence, simple battery with the same victim. The state is asking for you to consider that, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Abden?
Your Honor, if we can sound for Ms. Thomas before I present.
Miss Brianna Thomas is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Is this Ms. Thomas? If you will raise your right hand for me, ma'am. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can put your hand down, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
We since then have been able to come to an agreement. Mr. Baker has changed his ways since then, and so I agreed to go ahead and drop the charges.
Okay, and are you also the alleged victim in the Clayton County matter?
No.
Has this ever happened before?
No.
Okay. Are you afraid of him?
No.
And have you seen him since the incident day in December of last year?
Yes.
And you all have been getting along since then?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else that you'd like to tell me?
No.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ms. Abden?
Thank you, Your Honor. I am requesting a signature bond for my client. He is supposed to start orientation to work at FedEx tomorrow. And so the longer he remains in jail, the more likely it is he will lose this job opportunity. He does not have any income at the moment. And so setting any bond at all for him would be no bond at all. As you've heard, the complaining witness is not the same individual from that other case. I was unable to find it, but my client did tell me that it may have been closed, but I'm not so sure about that, Your Honor. And so I am requesting a signature bond so he be able to start his new job and no further violent contact with the complaining witness.
Okay, it's going to be a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge, 1 day anger awareness. no further violent contact with Miss Brianna Thomas, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Baker.
Thank you so much.
You're
Thank you,
welcome,
Your
sir.
Honor.
Position 19. Barr.
Good afternoon, Mr. Farr. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Farr, you've been charged in case 23 CR 005879G with battery. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
The defendant has 35 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was September 6, 2022 for a probation violation, and that was in Fulton County. The defendant does appear to be on probation in Fulton County for obstruction of an officer and possession of cocaine. That case number is 17 SC 155010. And the disposition date was January 31st, 2018, and the term is for 6 years. The defendant does have prior felony convictions. It's one in 2019 out of Cobb County for possession of cocaine. It's one in 2013 for possession of cocaine. One in 2010 for robbery. An additional one in 2010 for possession of cocaine with the intent to distribute. One in 2006 for entering an automobile. One in 2005 for possession of controlled substance. There's an additional one in 2005 for theft by receiving stolen property. And he does have misdemeanor convictions and sentences. It's one in 2018 for obstruction of an officer, and one in 2009 for disorderly conduct. And the defendant received a nolo contendere sentence in 2008 for possession of marijuana less than an ounce. And there was one in 2008 for disorderly conduct. The defendant does have a history of probation violation. There were 2 in 2022, 1 in 2021, 1 in 2018, and 1 in 2015. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor, to the one count of battery, the state is asking for a $1,500 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with the victim, Ms. Shannon Key. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
Any objection to any of that, Ms. Woodbury?
No objection.
Okay, $1,500 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Ms. Key. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Farr.
Sure, thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Position 3, Bonton.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bonton. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Bonton, you've been charged in case 23 CR 005875B with certain acts on a bus, rail station prohibited, and simple assault. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
The defendant has 29 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was August 21st, 2023 in Fulton County for a probation violation. The defendant does appear to be on probation in Fulton County for criminal trespassing and simple battery. That case number is 23 CR 00135-6 and the letter B. That disposition date was March 1st, 2023, and the term is for 12 months. The defendant does have a prior felony conviction that was in 2021 for 2 counts of Terroristic Threats Act, and that was in DeKalb County. And he does have misdemeanor convictions. It's one in 2023 out of DeKalb County for theft by shoplifting, one in 2020 out of DeKalb County for theft by shoplifting, one in 2019 out of DeKalb County for 3 counts of disorderly conduct and interference with government property. And there was another one in 2019 out of DeKalb County for theft by shoplifting, and the defendant received a nolo contendere sentence in 2019 for theft by shoplifting. And there was one in 2019 out of Clayton County. The defendant received a nolo contendere sentence for criminal trespassing. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Nemini?
Yes, Your Honor. So this incident happened at 2848 Main Street, East Point, at the East Point MARTA station yesterday. Officers observed the defendant possessing an unsealable 16-ounce can of Bud Light beer. He had it in the beverage, and then he poured into a plastic Fanta bottle, and then he consumed the beverage from the plastic bottle. He was then taken into custody, and while he was in the MARTA staff room, he stated to the officer that he was going to beat his ass and proceeded to kick a chair, and the pieces of the chair broke off and flew in the direction of the MARTA officer. Considering, from my understanding, he has 30 cycles that have 17 convictions, ranging from theft by shoplifting, obstruction, disorderly conduct. The state is asking for a $2,500 surety, stay away from MARTA, no alcohol, drugs, guns, or weapons, 1 day of anger awareness. For the breakdown, the count 1 is 500 and count 2 is 2,000.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 34 years old, Your Honor. He has been here in Georgia for more than 29 years, and he resides at, and also, Your Honor, he has he works for his brother who has a business, cleaning business. He cleans office buildings. He's been doing that for the last 6 years. He wants to complete his GED. He has gone to school up to 11th grade. He's not qualified for public defender services, Your Honor. And we would like to request for signature on bond for these charges, Your Honor. But if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we ask for maximum $500, $250 each. And all those open cases, he's presumed to be innocent, Your Honor. And I just want to make sure that marijuana case has NOD, so that way he does not get hold in the jail. Thanks.
Yes, I NOD'd that as well.
Thank you.
Okay, for each charge, it's going to be a $500 good bond, so makes for a total of $1,000 good bond. Stay away from the East Point MARTA station, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Bonington.
I got it.
You said $1,000 good bond, Judge?
That's correct, 500 each.
Thank you. And just to be correct, they NOD the marijuana possession license?
My understanding, yes.
Okay, thank you. Position number 2, Mr. Barnes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Barnes. I'm Judge Morrow. Good afternoon, sir. This is the state expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Barnes, you've been charged in case 23 CR 005876E with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
The defendant has 14 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was September the 28th, 2023, for driving while license suspended or revoked, possession of marijuana with the intent to distribute. And that was in Douglas County. That case appeared to be still pending, Your Honor. The defendant does have prior felony convictions. One in 2010 out of Douglas County for possession of marijuana with the intent to distribute. One in 2006 for buy, sale, or a motor vehicle, a part which serial number had been altered. There was one in 2002 for possession of marijuana with the intent to distribute. And the defendant does have one misdemeanor sentence. So in 2019, out of Austell, Georgia, he received a no contendere sentence for driving while license suspended or revoked. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Yes, Ms. Nemini?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened December 29th of last year, 2022, at 3575 Indian Rock Road, Southwest, where both the victim and the party and defendant share residents. Upon arrival, officer spoke with Alice Hughes, who is the victim in this case. She stated the father of The father of her two children, who is the defendant, had got into an argument with her earlier that day. He got upset. He charged at her. She stated that defendant pushed her against the wall, then pushed her to the floor. Then before he left the location, he got on top of her. He put his knee into her neck. She has bruises on the left side of her arm, the left side of her neck, and on her right thigh. Considering the children were there when this incident occurred. Her mother was the one who advised her to call for assistance. The officers were able to document the bruises. The state was able to talk to the victim, Mrs. Alice Hughes, which I would like to sound for her when it's appropriate. She did recant a month later, saying that they were both under the influence of something and everything was incorrect in the officer's report, but we have documentation of the bruises on her body. She states that the defendant and her are still in a relationship and they do live at that location, and they share the two children who were present at the time that this incident occurred. She claims they got into an argument that day, but she blew everything out of proportion. The state is still asking for a $3,000 surety bond to stay away from that specific location. No further contact with Miss Alice Hughes, no alcohol, guns, drugs, or weapons, Your Honor.
Ms. Hughes, I see you on the line. If you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. I'll need for you to raise your right hand for me. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
What would you like to tell the court?
First and foremost, I would like to tell the court that Montavious is a good father. We do share two children together. I can't say I have blown it out of proportion. I would say a little bit. I was upset. I did recant my statement was the truth. The bruises were there. That's the truth. I've never said that we both were under the influence. I would say that I took something for anxiety, but I don't think it was actually something for anxiety to try to calm me down that I got from a friend. Again, we do share two children together to where he does pick my son up and he takes him to and from school. He's in pre-K. We don't have any type of physical violence at this point. He is currently residing with his mom at this time due to the fact of just so things won't, escalate as far as us getting into an altercation, if that makes sense. Just he needed to step away just because of the incident that happened before. So it's like, take a break. I last seen him on Friday before his arrest. He bought me roses. Like, we have a very good co-parent relationship. So I would say a lot of this was blown out of proportion on my end.
Okay, and you would like to have contact with him at the present time?
Of course. I mean, he's welcome to, like I say, he does currently reside here. So, but at this time he is at his mom's, just so we don't have any physical altercation. We learn from our mistakes from last year. Of course, that happened last year, but he does take our 4-year-old to and from school. So no, I'm not afraid of him or anything of that nature. We're just, learning from our mistakes. That's all.
Okay, and this has not happened again since last year?
No, sir, not at all.
Okay.
Montavious is a great person. He's a great individual. He's a great father. And we're actually, working on things for the better.
Okay, thank you for being here this afternoon, Ms. Hughes. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Ms. Abden?
Thank you, Your Honor. As you've heard, my client is responsible for pickup and drop off of the 4-year-old, and so I would be requesting no further violent contact, especially considering that they do not reside at the same home anymore. He stays with his mom, and I am requesting a signature bond. He recently lost his job, and he just had an interview on Friday. He's actively looking for work. And so setting a bond would equate to no bond at all for my client. And so I am requesting no further filing contact and a signature bond, Your Honor, and that is all.
Okay, it'll be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge, 1-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Ms. Hughes, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Barnes.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Position 6, Davis.
Good afternoon, Mr. Davis. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Davis, you've been charged in case 23 CR 005868F with willful obstruction of law enforcement officers, driving while license was suspended or revoked, failure to obey a stop sign, no insurance, knowingly driving a motor vehicle on a suspended or canceled revoked registration, and no brake light to turn signal. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
The defendant has 55 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was September the 28th, 2023 for possession and use of drug-related objects. And that was with the City of Atlanta Police Department. There is no disposition for that arrest. He does appear to have an open case pending in Coweta County, Georgia for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon or felony first offender in criminal use of an article with altered ID marks and giving false information to an officer, and possession or use of drug-related objects and driving while license suspended or revoked. He does have prior felony convictions. They're all out of California. There was one in 2008 for felony obstruction of an officer. It's one in 2005 for burglary in the first degree, and one in 1995 for burglary in the second degree. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Ms. Nemini?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened September 15th of 2023 near the intersection of Sylvan Road and North Central Avenue in Hayfield, Georgia. Officer observed defendant in a blue and gray 2004 Dodge Ram truck stop and proceed past the intersection. She pulled onto the road and got behind the truck. And while she was behind, she observed that the left brake light was out and the tag returned expired and a canceled registration with no valid insurance. Officers did activate her emergency lights and initiate a traffic stop right before the South Central Avenue Bridge. Approached the driver's side and advised the officer the reason for the stop. He stated that he did not see the stop sign and he did not have a driver's license. She asked him for his name and his date of birth, in which he responded his first and his middle name, and a skewed date of birth. And that came back with a suspended Class C license. She asked him why he lied about his name, and he stated, and then he asked her, "Are you sure that you have the right person? My last name is Ray and not Davis. However, his last name is Davis and not Ray." And then he stated that, "If I would have told you the truth, would you not have arrested me?" She advised him to step out of the vehicle. And when he did, she attempted to place him into custody by grabbing his right wrist. But that's when he snatched away, ran across the railroad tracks, jumped over on a high ledge onto the I-85 northbound between cars. And to my understanding, he's had multiple failure to appears concerning his driving history for trial, for just dealing with his license history. The state is asking for $500 for each count, which equates to a $3,000 surety bond, no driving at all without a valid license, insurance, or registrations, no alcohol, guns, drugs, or weapons, Your Honor.
Oh, thank you, Ms. Nemini. Ms. Abden?
Thank you, Your Honor. So I am requesting a signature bond for my client. He does own his own business. He's a contractor. And right now he's not making any income. He's breaking even. And so setting any bond for him would be no bond at all. I understand the court and the state's concern about the prior FTAs. He does qualify for public defender services. And I do have a valid address for him as well as a phone number, and he does understand his obligation to return to court. And so since his indigency is a concern, Your Honor, and he is not a flight risk at this time, I am requesting a signature bond for my client.
All right, on each count, it's going to be a $500 signature bond through the jail. There's 6 counts, so that is a total of a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. No driving without a valid license, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Mr. Davis, I'm going to let you sign yourself out, but if you don't show up for court the next time, they're going to put a warrant out on you, and you won't get this opportunity the next time. You understand?
Sir.
All right. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Evans.
Welcome.
Position 11, Gray.
Good afternoon, Mr. Gray. I'm Judge Eric Mara. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Good afternoon, and yes, sir.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Gray. You've been charged in case 23 CR 005861D with theft by receiving stolen property. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
The defendant has 27 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was January the 28th, 2015 for a probation violation, and that was in Clayton County, Georgia. The defendant does have prior felony convictions. One in 2008 out of DeKalb County for possession of cocaine, one in 1989 out of DeKalb County for possession of controlled substance, one in 1986 for theft by receiving stolen property, and he does have a misdemeanor sentence. There was one in 2014. The defendant received a no low contendere sentence out of Clayton County for a failure to appear. The underlying charge was not listed. And there was a conviction in 1991 for a DUI. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Ms. Nemini?
Yes, Your Honor. On June 3rd, Mr. Manuel Jesus Burge contacted the Atlanta Police Department to report that his purple iPhone 4 Pro had been taken from his vehicle among other miscellaneous items. He advised that he went to sleep in his vehicle around midnight, and he awoke around 7 o'clock that morning, and to find his items missing. The victim is currently homeless, and he lives out of his car. And he believed that another homeless individual entered the car while he was sleeping and took those items. Officers did an investigation, and they obtained a hit from a pawn shop. Was that August 8th? They obtained a hit from a pawn shop at the Kroger Eco ATM located at 1225 Caroline Street Northeast, in which the defendant was the one on camera pawning the cell phone at 8:08 that morning, shortly after the victim had woken up. So there were pictures of him that were captured at the booth, as well as his Georgia ID were provided to complete the transactions. He also did sign an electronic signature acknowledging that he was the owner of the iPhone. Considering that the state is asking for a currently bond is at $2,500 said, and the state is asking for it to stay at $2,500. No further contact with Mr. Manuel Jesus Burge, and we're not going to do a stay away just because it's a weird area and it's a car. But yeah.
Okay, Ms. Woodbury?
Yes, Judge, we are asking for a signature bond in this case. One of the first things I noticed is it looks like the arrest date was September 28th out of the Atlanta City Detention Center, which I think, we would be past 72 hours if that was in fact the arrest date. I know he wasn't booked into Rice Street until September 30th, but that is a consideration. Judge, obviously the state has to prove knowledge as an element of this offense, and I haven't heard anything in the recitation of the alleged facts that indicates that the state knows how it's going to prove the new or should have known piece of things. As for Mr. Gray, he's 55. The history that we heard was quite old. Judge, he has a cousin, Carlos Robinson, who he works for. They do pressure washing with a company called Cleanville Services. He's been doing that for 7 or 8 years. He is from Atlanta. He's been here his whole life, so he has strong ties to the community. He has cousins here. He has 2 brothers in Conyers, and he does have an adult child in the area. Judge, we are asking for a signature bond at this time. His income is limited, and that's all he's really going to be able to afford.
Okay, it's gonna be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail, no further contact with Mr. Berg, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Yes, sir.
Good luck to you, Mr. Gray.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Position 18, Nava.
They wanted a breakout room for this position, that's my understanding.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, and we also need a breakout, I think, for positions 15, 8, and 12, is that right?
Yes, that is correct, Judge.
Okay, and then that's all that we have left, is that right? Okay, so if you can go ahead and place everyone into the breakout room that needs to be there.
And I represent Mr. Nava, so I'll need to be there.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Tevis.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Howard, good afternoon. Ms. Kim, I guess Ms. Abden, Ms. Nimini, Mr. Walker, myself, Ms. Woodbury.
Okay, Judge.
Thank you. Okay, courtroom 2, if you'll unmute for me. And this is Mr. Nava that we have.
Yes, Judge.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Nava. I've had an opportunity to discuss your case with counsel. The bond is going to be a $1,000 good bond. No further contact with the minor whose initials are GG. You are to stay away from Roswell High School. I understand that you already have an ankle monitor. You will be maintaining that ankle monitor. You also have a curfew that's in place. You'll be maintaining that curfew. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while you're out on bond. Okay? Good luck to you, Mr. Nava.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Also, Judge, we do have one more. They were actually in felony court. That's going to be position number 24, Mr. Stromey.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Stormy, and I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Judge, real quick, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I was told that his misdemeanor charges was also done in felony court as well.
Oh, so he's already been addressed and they've already set a bond for him?
For the, yes, they
Oh.
did.
Is that your do we have that listed, Mr. Walker?
I don't know how they consider a bond on something with a CR number.
That's what I was about to say. It has a CR number.
So he might have misdemeanor charges in connection to the felony case, but my belief would be those would be separate from this case.
Okay.
Let me just go ahead and hear it and set him a bond then. Mr. Stromey, you've been charged in case 23 CR 005858A with simple battery, family violence, and theft by taking. Is there a history, Ms. Jackson?
The defendant has 24 cycles. The defendant's last arrest was March 24, 2023 in Jacksonville, Florida, for a traffic violation. The defendant does appear to have prior felony convictions out of Florida. It's one in 2000, I'm sorry, it's one in 2014 out of Florida for fleeing or attempting to elude an officer, an obstruction of an officer, and a habitual violator, and possession of controlled substance. There's one in 2011 out of Florida for tampering with evidence and possession of cocaine, and one in 2010 for possession of cocaine. And he does have a misdemeanor conviction out of Florida. It's in 2016 for battery, domestic violence. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson.
Your Honor, this took place on September the 30th, and it was, the police were dispatched to the La Quinta Hotel, which is about a quarter mile away from the incident location. The incident location is 732 Wood Creek Way in Roswell in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, the victim, Sharika Wilson, was actually at the La Quinta Hotel because she had to walk there because the defendant took her phone as well as her car keys and a set of AirPods. So she had to walk to this hotel in order to call the police. She was involved in a domestic dispute with the defendant where he pushed her into a tub at their home. Your Honor, we would ask the court what we're asking for is a $1,500 surety bond on both counts with a total of $3,000 surety bond, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons, no further contact with the victim, Sharika Wilson, to stay away from the 732 Wood Creek Way in Roswell, Georgia, and for him to take one anger awareness class. And if the court would sound for Ms. Wilson.
If Ms. Sharika Wilson is on the line or wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Doesn't appear so. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 44 years old and he has no objection to stay away or no further contact with Ms. Sharia Wilson they do not live together, and my client was actually planning to leave. He was on the way out to leave, and Miss Sherika Wilson was very upset about that. My client is gainfully employed at staffing agency. He is working as a maintenance supervisor, Your Honor, and he has been well, we would like to request for a signature on bond. He has 2 minor children that he's taking care of, 10 and 4. And it drives back and forth from here in Florida because of his job. And we don't have any other information other than that. So we would like to, since there's a felony charge that will probably have a very heavy bond, we would like to request for signature on bond for these, or maximum $1,000 good bond for first offense, and theft by taking is usually signature on bond. So that's what we would like to request for. Thanks.
Okay, a $500 good bond per charge, so a total of $1,000 good bond. No further contact with Ms. Wilson. Stay away from her address, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, Your
good
Honor.
luck to you, sir.
All right, Judge, we did have a waiver of appearance for position number 8, Ms. Dickerson.
Okay, that's been null process, my understanding.
Okay,
All right.
and also position number 12, waiver of appearance.
We've addressed that. It will be a $5,000 good bond. No further contact with Edith Gonzalez. Stay away from 550 Peachtree, which is Emory Hospital, unless he's there for medical treatment. And he's gonna be placed on the competency calendar on October 12th.
Okay, thank you. For position number 15, waiver of appearance.
$5,000 signature bond through the jail, and an MHET. No further violent contact with another officer, Francois, and he's to be released to his parents. It's my understanding also that position number 14 is being reset until tomorrow.
That's a reset. Okay, thank you.
Okay, does that cover everything? That cover everybody?
Yes, you said.
I do have a question. I interviewed Mr. Ross, ROSS, booking number 2316152. But he's not on the calendar. I just want to make sure.
Devin Ross,
Yes.
it was a felony transfer. We had 3 felony transfers. That was one of them.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay.
So,
Is that
Judge, we're completed here in courtroom 2.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, see you tomorrow. Thank you. Be safe.
Okay, you too.
Bye.
Let's see. Again, for everyone, the SAP reset date is October 17th. And if no questions, then we'll have Ms. Champion go over the calendar, and I think that will conclude our day. So whenever you're ready, Ms. Champion.
Okay, position number 1 is a $5,000 pretrial bond per judge reset further notice. Position number 2 is a $3,000 pretrial bond per judge reset further notice. Position number 3 is a total of a $1,000 good bond reset SAP 1017. Position number 4 is a $3,000 pretrial bond reset further notice. Position number 5 is a total of a $2,500 good bond reset SAP 1017. Position number 6 is a total of a $3,000 sign-on bond through the jail reset further notice. Position number 7 is a $3,000 sign-on bond through the jail reset further notice. Position number 8 will be on null pros. Position number 9 is a $2,000 sign-on bond through the jail reset further notice. Position number 10 is a $3,000 good bond reset SAP 1017. Position number 11 is a $2,000 sign-on bond through the jail reset further notice. Position number 12 is a $5,000 good bond going to be reset to the SAP 1012. Position number 13 is a total of a $1,000 sign-on bond through the jail reset for the notice. Position number 14 is reset to the C on 10-3. Position 15 is a $5,000 sign-on bond through the jail reset for the notice. Position 16 is a total of a $1,000 sign-on bond through the jail reset for the notice. Position 17 is a $1,500 pretrial bond reset for the notice. Position 18 is a $1,000 good bond reset SAP 1017. Position 19 is a $1,500 sign-on bond through the jail reset for the notice. Position 20 is a $5,000 pretrial bond reset for the notice. Position 21 is a total of a $2,000 sign-on bond through the jail reset for the notice. Position 22 is a total of a $1,000 sign-on bond through the jail reset for the notice. Position 23 is a $3,000 pretrial bond reset for the notice. Position 24 is a total of a $1,000 good bond reset SAP 1017. Position 25 is a total of a $2,000 sign-on bond through the jail reset for the notice. Position number 26 is a total of a $1,000 good bond reset SAP 1017. Any questions?
Okay, if not, thank you all. We appreciate it. And I guess we'll see everyone again tomorrow. Y'all have a good rest of your day.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Howard, go ahead.
I knew it was something. Jackie, thank you. Judge, there is Mr. Sidney Johnson, position 13 that we handled. We since his case was handled, Pat was able to interview him and he is acceptable for them, and the state has agreed that he can go to Pat, and upon release to Pat, they'll be willing to dismiss his case. So we're asking that the bond order, and I've already sent one over, the bond, and actually I sent it to Ms. Grace, Ms. Champion. I guess I need to forward it to you. We sent a bond order changing it to the same amount that the court set, but the condition that he be released to a Pat representative tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. so that they can actually, get him, and he was agreeable to that. So we're just asking that the bond order that's sent over is the one that reflects that. And I spoke with the state about it, and the state is agreeable to that as well, Judge.
Okay, so that's agreeable with the court.
All right, so Ms. Champion, I'll forward it to you as well.
I forwarded to her,
You
Mr.
did?
Howard.
Okay. All
Yes,
right.
thank
All
you.
right. Thanks. All right.
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I just don't know what happened to Mr. Brian Holcomb.
Let's
I
see.
don't think I really understood what happened.
You Miss Edith Gonzalez?
Yes, this is me.
Yes, he's to have no further contact with you, ma'am. He has also received a $5,000 good bond, and he is going to be placed on the competency calendar on October 12th.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a good afternoon.
You too.
Okay. Could you all hear me better today? I'm on a different device. Sometimes you say that I go in and out. Was I all right today?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, very good. I'll keep using this one then. Okay, we'll see y'all tomorrow.
See you
All right, thank
tomorrow.
you, Judge.
Okay.